What's up, my friends? I hope you're well. Well, last video I was talking about this offer I got from Carnival. Absolutely incredible, and I just couldn't pass it up. I couldn't do it at all. I'm looking forward to it. That we're going to Europe. It's pretty cool. It was one of the free cruises. Now, as I've always said, it's not 100% free if you've never cruised before. You got to pay the port tax fees, gratuities, and you want to pay your vacation insurance for not just refund on the cruise, but a lot of other cool things. And that's a big tip, I'll tell you, along with some other things that I've talked about. But anyway, just sitting here looking at some stuff on the internet, there's a lot of incredible things rolling out with these iPhones, man. If you're not an iPhone user compared to an Android, go look at what's going on here. In the last few years, what we are able to do with iPhones. There's some incredible features now they've had SOS, but they've enhanced the whole satellite thing now. Like you can be somewhere and make a phone call satellite. Like I could be on the cruise ship in the middle of the ocean and the internet I can't get, and God forbid there's an emergency and I need to make a call to somebody. I can dial out and do that, I think. I need to look further on that. I know you can do the emergency services, which is cool. It's like they did a demo of it, and you go outside, and the skies are clear today, but go out and it'll point you right to the satellite, tells you where it's at, and just move it. It has a little window of opportunity, and you hold it, make sure there's no obstructions, and it connects it, and it does the whole demo and shows you kind of an example of what it does. It doesn't dial emergency services. You don't want that because with satellite stuff, there's no telling where it would end up. Obviously local, but I digress. But anyway, I'm doing well, and I hope you guys are doing well. I really do. I tell you, man, I was so stoked. I got in early and booked the excursion in Rome, Italy for the Vatican and all that. I was like, man, because that's one of the things that sells out the quickest. And come to find out, and I've got to look further on this, come to find out that it's Easter Monday, and you know what that means. The Pope don't want anyone wandering around the Vatican unless you're over there saying prayers and some stuff. It ain't gonna happen. So unfortunately, we're not gonna be able to see the museums in the Vatican. We may be able to go into Vatican City, but I think because it's been a small credit, I was like off that $23, but I was like, maybe it's just for that, and the tour is still on. I'm still trying to find that out. Right now, I can't log into Carnival. They must be under maintenance right now because I can't log into their site. That happens. And I'm trying to find out how much of the excursion is still there because what's going to be, and I've talked about this before, is that the safest thing you could do in countries you're not familiar with is always do a ship sponsored excursion. That's why they trust and know these people and they're going to get you back, and the boat will help you and wait on you. They won't if you use private tours. Now, I know a lot of people do private tours from trusted tour guides or trusted travel agents, but it doesn't guarantee that they're going to get you back to that boat. Things can happen. I've talked about that before. It happens all the time. It happened in Nassau. It happens a lot. Nassau, as I said, is one of the most notorious places to miss your cruise ship. But you don't want to be in somewhere like Tangier, Morocco, or somewhere that you don't know. That's If you look at the map where that's at, and I don't know how far that is from Egypt, but you come around there, there's a bay there, and it goes back, and there's more ocean. Behind you is Libya and Egypt, and there's areas like I don't know anything about Morocco. I got to get on, and I'm going to have to, before I go to these places, do my research of if I'm a tourist, what to look out for, what to do, and stuff like that. So always do ship sponsors excursion. So on this particular trip, I'm gonna need to just do like little city tours and stuff and kind of get out. That seems to be the best thing. I mean, you're not going to be doing that I know of in Tangier, Morocco. I don't think you're going to be doing any snorkeling. Now you are on the water in the Mediterranean Ocean, but that last time I checked, and I could be wrong. Chime in below and tell me everything you know because I'm dying to know. I don't know. I'm already a little nervous, but if you've never flown abroad into other countries, you're going to be a little intimidated. Is that Do they offer that? Because that ocean is pretty cloudy and it's not blue like the Caribbean. I don't think that's one of the most sought after places to go snorkeling in. However, it is an ocean, and people probably do it. Not something on this trip I'm probably going to be looking at doing. I'm going to be, wanting to see the places that I'm going to, and that's the whole point of this. The cool thing about this ship, I think, is really cool. In these journeys cruises like this, what they do, and it happened in Hawaii, it was real cool. They bring the real culture, the people from these countries on these ships. They hire them to come on. They teach you the music and the food and the culture and immerse you in all this on the boat. And I think I talked about this before. The funniest thing was we were in Hawaii and we were in Honolulu. And all these people were getting in busloads off the ship and got this excursion for a luau in Honolulu. They were going to go have a Hawaiian luau. Oh, it was on. Well, they had one on the boat when we were in port in Honolulu later that day. People had come off the excursion and got on the boat, and I was standing there. I was getting something to drink at one of the bars on the Lido deck, and the guy was like, I feel like I got ripped off. This is better than the luau we went to. And these are Hawaiians, you know. They put these people will teach you, like I mentioned on my Hawaiian cruise, they had, as they pronounce ukulele, this thing right here, a ukulele. They had ukulele lessons from Hawaiians teaching it. Now, they weren't the most skilled guitar players, but Hawaiians that play ukulele, it's their culture and the rhythm and the music of it. Why not being a musician? Why would I not want to go sit in on that? You know, they had cooking things and the food and the dancing, and had people talking about things. And I think on this cruise ship, they're going to have people kind of talking about, because we're in areas where you might want to, know some things about where you're going, what you're doing. They talk about in the theater, they have little presentations where they'll have people talk about things to see and do and to go safely, and where to go, where not to go, kind of thing. So always pay attention to those things when you go on these cruise ships. They do it, I think, for all cruises, but these Journey Sea cruises, they're really cool because they really immerse the whole ship in the culture. Like when we were on the way home from Hawaii, we were stopping in Ensenada, Mexico, on the top of the Baja Peninsula. I've been all over Mexico. The only part of the Baja Peninsula I've been to is Ensenada. I've never been to Cabo. I guess one day I may need to go see it. If it was anything like Ensenada, it ain't all that, but I'm sure it's beautiful in its own right because it's further south, maybe. I don't know. But be it that it may, going home, they had like some of the Mexican culture, some of the guys doing the music. It wasn't as much as the Hawaii stuff because that was the focus of the trip. It was Hawaii, and it was the cool thing is they had things that were focused on each island and some things, and it was really cool. It really was. Very cool, I have to say. So anyway, I'm doing well. I'm just going to be doing a lot of research before I go on that cruise in March. I do have one between now and March, and I'm going on the Carnival Vista. I'll videotape some on that cruise, showing the Vista a little bit. There's a lot of people that do an incredible job, much better than me, showing these ships. But I'll talk about it a little bit, talk about my take on it. And if you have any questions, I'm going to, chime in below. What I may do, and I'm not sure, like on this cruise over the Mediterranean, it's a lot of videos to upload. I may see if I could go live on the ship and talk a little bit in some of these places. What I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to call Verizon Wireless and find out my cellular over there, because that's, on the boat there's Wi-Fi. I can communicate with that. But when I get in these countries, I've got to be able to figure out what I can and can't do. I don't want to come home and have $1,000 sitting on my Verizon bill going, welcome to Italy, welcome to Morocco, welcome to Spain. You get hit with all these roaming charges and these cell charges from countries that I've never been to before, that may not support Verizon. They piggyback off of their cellular companies, and you get the point. You've been through this. It's nothing new that most of us don't already know. So little checklist of things I got to do, and I got to get me a new travel duffel bag thing for my luggage, because mine is a little bit smaller than what I want, but it's older and I want to change it out. It's I like that rolling duffel bag. I can put my backpack on and roll and have everything with me. So, but it's going to be cool, and I will. I'm going to document it. I'm going to take my take on it. I'm not going to be like some of these guys that do all these professional videos and knock it out the park. I'm just real. That's the way I am. That's the way this channel is, and I'd rather be that way. I don't want it choreographed. I don't want it to be like, well, there's a video of me walking to my car, but who's holding the camera when everybody's walking to the car? It's just staged for you to film that and then go back and grab the camera. These channels do that crap. It's one thing you have a drone that's following you, but you still have to stop and get that drone because it's not going to follow you forever. Not gonna. But anyway, I digress. I'm jumping off. I hope you guys are well. Just wanted to check in, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Be cool. Bye.